Hey guys, Professor Murphin here. I'm just going to give you a quick tour around the Blackboard shell for Math 173 College Algebra for the online class so that you have a good idea of where everything is. There's just a few links over here on the left, and everything is kind of within these links. The first thing you definitely want to check out on the first day is the syllabus and the overview. You can get into the syllabus here. You might need to put in uh, your MXCC password to get in, but you should be logged in to be able to see it. You can, of course, read through all of this. The couple of things you want to note is that for this class, the book we're using is the Roswell Pearson book. You don't have to actually buy a copy of the book if you don't want to. It's optional. What you do need is access to my math lab, so you can get this either through the bookstore or on your own. It comes basically with a access code that you'll use to access my math lab. Within my math lab, there is an e-text version of the book. So if you prefer just to have the e-text version, that's totally fine, and you won't have to buy the actual hard copy. I'm sure it's a little more expensive to buy the hard copy along with the My Math Lab account. So just wanted to make that clear. Also in this class, we'll use graphing calculators, so you can use a TI-83 or a TI-84. On the exam, you won't be able to use anything other than that, except for a scientific calculator, but nothing like a TI-89 or anything like that. So you want to try to get your hands on one of these. The library does have some for rent that you can just check out for free for the whole semester. So I would definitely recommend that. It's the summertime right now when I'm recording this, so there's probably fewer people going for the calculators, but they do have a limited number, of course. You can read through everything here. As I mentioned, all of our homework and exams and quizzes will be done on my math lab, which I have another video that kind of goes through the orientation to using my math lab with this class. The important thing to remember about my math lab is you don't actually have to have the access code to get onto it at first. You get a free 2-week trial period. So if you don't have the access code right now, day one, still go ahead and sign up for it. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. Still go ahead and sign up for my math lab and use the 2-week trial period. And then just sometime in the next 2 weeks, make sure that you get that access code. I think you can also buy access directly on the website. We'll be doing homework, quizzes, and exams. I have another video that kind of goes through how the quizzes and the homework and the exams work, so make sure to watch those. We'll also be doing some discussion boards. Those will be done on Blackboard, not on my math lab. I'll show you those in just a second. Here's an important thing. Our final exam is taken in person, so that's the only thing that's done in person in this class. It's going to be here at this specific date. And the other important thing to remember is that to pass this class, you have to get at least a 60% on the final exam. If you don't, then regardless of whatever your calculated average is, you'll get an F in the class. That's because for the online stuff, we don't really have a way of knowing that you actually are learning the material. So as you're learning the online material, please make sure that you take it very seriously and that you're preparing for the final exam because you have to pass that and you have to take it in person. Um, you have the grading scale, and then of course what everything is worth down here. Sometimes when this opens up in Blackboard, it gets a little off. But notice that final exam is also worth a large chunk of your grade, 30%. Okay, so I think you can read through everything else. There's a course outline here. If you plan on taking this course and transferring it to another school, this would be a good thing to hang on to. Sometimes they like to know exactly what the course was that you took, and that way they can make sure that they transfer it as the correct class. So these are really good to hang on to. It might be good to print out the syllabus and just hang on to it if you're planning on transferring to another college in the future. So also back in this list, you have the syllabus which we just looked at, and then this video here, and then there's a couple other demo videos that you should also watch. I also have a course schedule. We're going to try to stick to this as much as possible. The online classes for the summer have kind of a strict due dates, so everything is due on either a Wednesday, Friday, or a Sunday night. Everything's due at 11:59 p.m. That way, there's no ambiguity about what time it's due. So it's due at midnight, but 1 minute before midnight each day. So you want to go ahead and just make sure you access this every week and make sure you're keeping up with what's going on. You'll also be able to see it on my math lab, but you can see this is a pretty dense class. There's pretty much due something due every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. So you definitely want to make sure that you're keeping up with everything. Of course, you can work ahead a little bit. For example, if you have, something going on the weekend and you don't want to do work on the weekend, just do it a couple days earlier and you'll be set. To get into my math lab, you can get there a couple of ways. Easiest way will just be when you first start out, you need to go in through Blackboard. So come into this link and then just click on my math lab links, and then you can just go to my lab and mastering course home. Um, at this point, you will register for my math lab. It might take it a second to pop up. I'm on a little bit slow internet connection. Okay, so this will get you into my math lab. The first time you do it, you'll have to create a username and password. If you have taken a class that uses my math lab in the past, you can use the same username or password. And if you've taken this class but you are retaking it because you failed it or had to withdraw, you should be able to use the same access code that you used from the previous class. So the access to the course goes along with the book. So as long as you've already purchased access for this specific book, then you can continue to use that. That goes the same for the next class, the pre-calculus class. It uses the same book, so there's no need to purchase a new access code. So also within here, you can get to the homework and the quizzes and tests. You can click on these links to see those, or you can look at all of the assignments at once. I also have a link to the e-text. So I mentioned that you don't have to have a hard copy of the book. You can just go to the e-text. And again, it might take a second for this to load up. I'm on kind of a slow connection here. I'll just pause for a quick second while this loads. All right, so I'm back. The book has loaded up, and you'll see that the e-text version of this book is exactly the same as the hard copy version of the book. It is a little bit clunky in terms of jumping around, but you can also use this. You can also use the table of contents over here to jump into different sections. So I have the different sections actually listed, on the course schedule. So like 3.2, for example, you can just jump here over here and go to 3.2 right here. It'll actually open up the specific text for you. And so if you prefer, if you get a lot of use of reading the textbook, some people do, some people don't. Then you can certainly use that to help you with the material. It does have some nice graphics and some nice examples that you can use alongside the other examples that I provide you in the My Math Lab shell. So besides that, there's a few other links here you can check out. I do have a few YouTube channels. So within the homework assignments, I have a lot of YouTube videos linked to them. We have a college algebra MXCC YouTube channel, and then a couple other like intermediate algebra, elementary algebra, if you need a little bit of review on some specifics. So you can definitely check these out and see the topics that we have covered there. That might be useful to you. For example, if we're doing something with linear equations or factoring, and you want to do a little bit of review with factoring, there's a bunch of good videos here. And then there's also some videos that I've made for some other courses in the past, and I have some of these linked within the homework. This is actually me going through and demonstrating in more of kind of a lecture type of setting, so hopefully those are a bit useful to you as well. The other thing that you're going to be doing in Blackboard is you'll notice on the schedule that there's discussion due. Usually, they're kind of a little bit sporadic, but there's going to be about 11 discussions due over the course of the semester. So those are done on Blackboard, not on my math lab. You can just go here to discussions. For example, the first discussion here is just to give a little background on your experience with math. Pretty simple. Some of these will be kind of questions like, hey, what's something you've had trouble with in this homework set? And then some of these will actually be, hey, here's a problem. Explain to me how you would actually solve this. So just make sure you don't wait till the last minute, because some of these might actually take a little bit of time for you to do some problem solving and some explaining. So I would definitely check it out a couple of days before they're due. To make sure that you cover that material in the homework and that you know how to give a good explanation for it. So they're not always going to be just kind of tell me a little bit about yourself. That's just for the first day. The other thing, you can check out the course content. So there will be a folder for each week that basically tells you what is due for that week. So you can go on the week 1 folder, and this basically has what we're going to be covering for that week, and then specifically what's due for that week. This is just basically exactly what is in the course calendar, but it's just another way for you to see exactly what I want you to take care of in each week. So make sure you check this at the beginning of each week, and that you know what's going on. I'll also have some links to the My Math Lab stuff down here as well. This you won't actually see because I need to hide some of this from the student mode. But besides that, I think that's pretty much everything on the Blackboard shell. Make sure you watch these other 2 videos for dealing with My Math Lab. They're pretty important. And of course, if you have any questions, you can go here to messages and you can send me a message, or you can always email me, of course. I'll be sending out periodic announcements that will be here under the announcements, and then they'll also come to your email as well. So good luck in the course. It's an accelerated course, so it goes pretty fast. It's about twice as fast as a normal semester because it's only 7 weeks as opposed to 15. And if you have any problems, just let me know and I'm happy to help. All right, thanks.